Hey class, for our next manipulator, okay, this is a SCARA manipulator with the RRP configurations or revolute prismatic. Okay, so let's go to our OneNote. Okay, so this is the kinematic assembled kinematic diagram of our SCARA manipulator. Okay, so first are the link indicators and labels. Okay, so SCARA manipulator has more than three, okay, more than three links. Okay, so this is the number one. Next is number two. Next is number three. Okay, then number four. Okay, so number four here. And lastly, number five. Okay. So these are the link or the link lengths of a SCARA manipulator. So we have five. Okay, five of them. So let's go and label each each link lengths. So this is A1. Okay. This is A2. This is A3. Next, oh sorry, this is not A3. This is A3. This is A3. Next is A4. Okay. Here is A4. Okay. Let's replace this with the number 4. Then lastly, for number 5, link 5. Okay. So this is 5. Okay. We have 5 links or 5 link lengths on our SCARA manipulator. Okay. Next are the joint variables and their indicators and labels. Okay. So this is for the theta 1. Okay. Theta 1. Next is theta 2. Okay. So here is our theta 2. Okay, don't forget class. Counterclockwise is the positive rotation. Okay. Next, for our prismatic. Okay. Our prismatic. This is our prismatic joint. So we need this symbol or this indicator. So I will just rotate it right 90 degrees. Rotate right 90 degrees. Okay. Then this will be our D3. Okay. Because this is a prismatic joint. It should be D3. Okay. So let's make this much and I will make the link to the end effector longer so that it can be seen easily. Okay, now we have all the labels of our links and joint variables. Now let's assign the frames. Okay, so rule 1. So I will just make this faster. So rule 1, oh sorry, I forgot the center of our frames, or the origin of our frames. Okay, so for this base, okay, so let's put it here. Okay, the center for this twisting joint, or this twisting joint, is at the center of, also of the center of rotation. Okay, the center of rotation it is in here. Okay, and also because it is where the link lengths, or the link crosses each other. Okay, it's at the center of this twisting joint. Okay, for the prismatic joint, okay, the center of our frame is here. Also, the center of translation. Okay, this is the center of translation. The extension of link A4, then the connection of it at link A5. Okay, so this link A5 should also be longer. Okay. And of course, for the end effector, so I just make the link to the end effector longer, to so that it can be seen clearly, because there are too many labels in this kinematic diagram. Okay, so let's go to color light blue for our z-axis, or z-axis. So this is the axis of rotation for the first frame. This is the axis of rotation for the first frame. This is the axis of sorry, this is the uh, direction of translation for the next, for the third frame, or the frame 2, because this is frame 2, this is frame 1, this is frame 0. And lastly, for the end effector, so the practice is copy the z-axis, the direction of the z-axis of the frame before the end effector. Okay, then let's make them thicker for us to see them clearly. Okay, rule 4, rule 4. Next, next are the labels. Okay, so this is Z0, okay, base frame, Z1, then Z2, and Z3. Sorry about that. Z3. Okay, next is the rule 2. Oh, it's all about the x-axis. So this is a base frame, Okay, let's point it to the right. Okay. For our frame 1, this is frame 1, our x-axis can be pointed to the left or right, front or back. But to make it easier for us for the future computations of forward kinematics, okay, let me point this to the right. Okay, the same with x sub 0. Okay, so to, be, to make it easy for us for our next for our future computations. Okay, next is x sub 3. Okay, shapes. So z sub 1 is pointing upward while z sub 2 is pointing downward. So our choices again are left or right, front or back. So again, I will choose to the right. I will point it to the right. Okay, for future computations. Okay, so trust me about the future computations. Okay, there are lots of computations we will do after finishing the DH notation. Okay, so this is x sub 2. Next is for the end effector. So x sub 3. Okay, so z sub 2 and z sub 3 are both pointing downward. So our only choices are left or right, front or back. So I will choose again to the right. Okay. Everyone is every x-axis or x-axis is pointing to the right. Okay. Okay. Next, for rule 3, each x-axis must intersect the z-axis of the frame before it. Okay. So if we extend z sub 0, so this is for x sub 1, okay, it doesn't intersects with x sub 1. But if we intersect x sub 1 to the left, okay, sorry, this is higher or this is lower, okay. If we intersect x sub 1 to its negative direction, it will intersect with x sub 0. So x sub 1 complies with rule 3. Okay, complies to rule 3. Next is for x sub 2. If we extend z sub 1, it will not intersect with x sub 2. But if we extend x sub 2 to the left, okay, it will intersects with z sub 1. So x sub 2 complies to rule 3. And lastly, if we extend z sub 2, it will complies to rule 3 because it will intersect with x sub 3. Okay, so that's rule 3. Every x-axis complies with rule 3, or every x-axis is compliant to rule 3. Rule 4, okay. So rule 4 is all about y-axis and right hand rule. Okay. So for the base frame, our y-axis will point backward, and let's make this thinner. Okay? It will point backward because because z-axis is pointing upward and x-axis pointing to the right. So based on our right hand rule, y-axis will point to the back. Okay, so this is our y sub 0. Next is y sub 1. Okay. So y sub 1 will also point at the back. Okay, because frame 1 is almost the same with frame 0. Next, for frame 2, okay, based on our right hand rule, z-axis is pointing downward, x-axis is pointing to the right, so y-axis will point to the front. Okay, it will point to the front. Am I right? You may try that. Okay, so z-axis is the thumb, x-axis is the index finger, y-axis is the middle finger. So will it will point to the front. Okay, so that is y sub 2. Okay, this is y sub 2. Then lastly, for the end effector, the end effector is almost the same frame to frame 2. So our y-axis will also point to the front. Okay. Okay. So that class is our kinematic diagram for SCARA manipulator. Okay. So if you're asking if z sub 2 and z sub 3 are negative, no, they are positive. Okay. Z sub 2 and Z sub 3 axes are positive. They are not negative, even though they are pointing downward. Okay? What negative is, or what negative are the 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 opposite sides of Z2 and Z3, the upward direction, because you did not, or I did not choose. Okay, I did not choose the upward direction. Okay, because the direction of translation is downward. Okay, so the direction of our the axis will also be downward, but the Z2 and Z3 will not become negative. They are still positive. What will be negative is if Z3 will point upward or Z2 will point upward. Okay? But it is pointing downward also to comply to rule 1. Okay, to comply the rules of rule 1. Okay? So that's all for SCARA manipulator.